Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to East versus West.
Hey, welcome everybody to another Sunday Night Casual with me, Texas Tan, your host. So today I bet there are a couple of controversial questions and topics out there that I'm expecting you guys. I can already see all the messages flying in, uh, and wanting to know a little bit more. And here I am, going to be giving you as much as I possibly can, uh, about what our thoughts are, what my feelings are, and my, from a company perspective and my own perspective. And this is also another reminder why this is done on my personal channel and not the company's channel, to better delineate the official response from the company, usually in the form of a press conference or a public statement, and somebody who technically, well, I am in the owner of the company, but sometimes I do have my own personal thoughts and feelings. So here I am, and let's see. There's a lot of questions. Sunday fun day, arm wrestling live. Yeah, it seems like there's quite a bit going on every Sunday, and I think it's a pretty good way for me to, well, I mean, the whole community to wrap everything up, trying to figure all sorts of news and media, and put it at the end of Sunday, and then move on with a whole bunch of things going on. So, who am I betting on for Jerry versus Camille? I think it is. I think if right now, it feels every day we get people offering us, hey, we are interested to put arm wrestling on our sports betting book, right? Most of the time when they realize we don't have many events, then they kind of back out. But very often, there's a new group that came in this 2 weeks ago. We've been talking since. And they were like, oh, okay, to make it work, we're gonna have all sorts of interesting ways that you can bet on, right? An example would be, instead of just betting who wins and who loses, that kind of straightforward thing, they're saying things like how many rounds per match, per match, will it go into strap. So they like those fringe, fun bets, right? So with that, I think you saw a message from one of our team member, from EVW team member, on our Discord channel. If you have not joined our Discord channel, please do. Information's in on our website. So in the Discord channel, he's asking people. Right now, we don't have the budget for it because it's not an immediate return on investment, but we kind of need data on average match rounds for athletes. All right. So example. So in my opinion, I think, okay, I'm not an expert, on any analytics by any means, but I think if the match were to go long, I think Jerry has an advantage. And if Camille gets into position faster, he has an advantage. So it's all about, I think, the game is won during setup. So the ref's role in this match is going to be very critical. If they're not really watching how Camille is getting set up, and Camille gets to leaning a little bit, quite a bit more, and and they're not completely square, then I think Camille would probably be the victor. And if Jerry gets into position, he doesn't have to be faster than Camille, but he just needs to prevent Camille from getting into his position. Then I think Jerry will win. And I think this match is all about positioning, and I think it's all won before the ref says go. That's just me. Let's see. Next comment from Tom Cohen. Dexter, you and Robert are great managers and do the Good job. Indian time is done, and GVW failed, and it's time to clean up and shine. Thank you. Uh, I Adamantium arm wrestling saying I like Shaw and all strongmen and want to see them in arm wrestling. Monetarily, it may present problems though. I want to hear what are some of the problems, for the strongmen coming in. I do know there are there are a decent number of people who don't want to see strongmen or anybody else in there other than maybe top 20 arm wrestlers. That's some sentiment. I'm not saying that's what EVW will do, but that's some of the sentiment. I've heard of it, but I also want to remind everybody that as we try to grow the sport, we need new guys, up and coming guys, right? I mean, take for instance, Rickert, right? Rickert Bornemann. He's technically not ranked yet, but you can see the amount of interest for him. If we gatekeep to only the top 20 guys, then it will take a while and it will take a long time for the new guys to have any way to break into the sport on the top stage, right? So which is why, as you all have seen, we have a new way of running things. I'm sure, like something that I've been talking about for several months now about having a prelims version. We have actually now accomplished that. So for the very first time, we will have the prelims for. Let me post this up. If you guys have not seen it yet, we have prelims for Atlantic City. This will be the first event that we'll done where we have prelims. Now, whenever I throw the word prelims, I hope everybody understands that prelims equates to free. Okay. Now, it's not to say that Jason Merlot's match or Anna's match, or even Schoolboy and Rickert's left hand, it's not worthy of the pay per view. No, no, no. That's completely not the case, right? That's completely not the case. It is a way to start getting people excited. Okay, it's a way to get people excited. Now, obviously, we will usually prioritize the newer guys to be introduced to the world in the prelims. If anything, if you're newer to the EVW stage, I would say that prelims, it's a better way to expose, for the organization to expose you, because it's going to be free, live streaming on our company's YouTube channel, right? It's on the free channel. So we expect a lot more people watching that than the pay-per-views, right? I'm just throwing out facts there. Not everybody is buying our pay-per-view who's watching on the free channel, right? That's a simple math. So with that said, the reason why we did what we did was, okay, well, Jason's and mine is new to the EVW. So let's put them there, expose them to the world, right? And for Anna and Jocelyn, Jocelyn has been on several times. Anna, she's actually our event coordinator, but for too long, she has been not given the opportunity because she's a staff member. But we kind of thought, like, look, okay, she won WAF Worlds so many times. She won Europeans champion many times. She goes to every event and she constantly win. And then sometimes, I think in Chicago, she even competed in the men's category and came in second in the opens division. So she's so powerful. She's way up there, but she's not given the opportunity because she's working the job, right? And is that really fair? Because ultimately, she is an athlete first. Okay, so with this, we are giving her the second position, right? So after so once she's done with her match, it's out of the way, she can come back and start working the job, right? So that's why she's placed in the prelims and not in the main event. If she's placed in the main event somewhere, then for until her event, she has to be focused on, and she's going to be too distracted working everything else. So that's why we did. And the biggest change, that another big change that we did right now, is that the tournament finalists will be on the prelims. The tournament finalists. So most cases, in most events, we normally have a tournament on Friday. Now in Switzerland, it was so big that it even went into Saturday morning. Okay, because they have masters, seniors, and juniors, I think. So with that, right, we need to be able to. Well, but we can fit all the finalists, right? It's just too crazy. So what ends up happening is we'll probably need. So I came to talk to Robert and says, hey, we got to do prelims, and I want to reward a finalist. Okay, almost like a wild card kind of thing. Now, what's also pretty evident from the EVW perspective is that we will have our matchmakers there, right? We will have a lot of our team members there, right? So everybody knows Devin is one of them. Travis is one of them as a commentator and announcer. Neil is also one of them. So Coach Ray is one of them. So all four of them will be there as well. Between the commentators, announcers, plus our matchmakers, Robert and Snezana, there will be a lot of eyes on the tournament. Okay. Unfortunately, due to time and everything, we wish we can put everybody in there. We were gonna they're all gonna come up and give ideas to pick one finalist that they think is it's gonna be the best. Best could come from any sense. Could be most entertaining. Could also come from being how close the match would be, right? And usually they are one and the same. So I would say that if you want to have a shot, if you want to have a shot to be on the main stage with all the big dogs, come to the tournament. Come to the tournament and do your best. And there is a potential for you to be on the main stage. So, and the main stage would be best out of 5, like the rest of the matches, instead of the tournament best of 3, I believe. So that's kind of what a big change. If you're still thinking about whether or not to come for the tournament, now is the time, right, to make that call, because this is going to be massive. You'll be given. The only thing is your pictures won't be on the posters, obviously, because there's no time to make the last minute edit within a couple hours. But for everything else, you'll be you you get a glimpse of what it means to be on the main stage, and I think it's pretty different. So that's, I think, yeah, I it's snowing for the first time here, so it's super dry right now, super dry, because somebody commented I should drink more water. And by the way, I didn't grow up in the Rocky Mountains, so body's never gonna acclimate to the dry, cold weather. Let's see. This is the Discord link. If for anybody who hasn't joined yet, only people that don't want strongman are those that are scared. That's a pretty fun one. I like that. Arm wrestling is changing. It used to be very gate kept from the old guard. I don't see that as much anymore unless I'm missing something. I think it's not so much gatekeeping. I think it's more people. Well, I guess you can say it's kind of sort of gatekeeping, but it's people don't. They're fearful of the unknown, or yeah, right. So just like in the early days, I got attacked almost every single time. But I believe, give people time and be genuine, be authentic, and in time people will see one's true colors, right? I mean, that's I think that's a very good like system to operate from, right? Anytime like, oh, should we do this? Should we do that? Well, what do I personally think is the best? And just do it rather than trying to appease other people, those sort of thing. Um, let's see. These prelims are more like teasers to me, and it's a way to promote the pay-per-view. Correct. And that is ultimately one of the key goals. There will be a little bit more promotion in there than our main event, meaning the announcers will probably be saying, guys, buy the pay-per-view. It's going to be crazy. And in this format, we see Riker and Schoolboy pulling once in the prelims, and also he'll be pulling uh a second time in the main event. So it's one of those, like, everybody, I maybe we should do a poll, right? We should do a poll, whether or not what they think is gonna be, uh, you know, if whether or not Rickard or Schoolboy will win. But that's one of the cases, though, right? Uh, I think both hands are very different. Both hands are very Rickard and Schoolboy. I think would be a good match overall, which I think it's the perfect headliner for the prelims. So just join the show. Just join the show. Did you already address Brian Shaw's comments regarding EVW? Not yet. Not yet. And happy to answer that. But instead of people asking me over and over again, because we usually as time goes on, I will address this. But I just don't want to keep repeating myself. So to prevent this, I'll just wait till a little bit later, because I know that's something for sure everybody would like to listen and get a little bit more details than Robert's quick, message there. So I I will answer. Remind me maybe in like 25 minutes or so. Anybody think Michael Todd will sweep Georgi or vice versa? This one, I know Michael is the favorite, but everybody's forgetting how well Georgi did. He is one of those, like, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I've been telling a lot of people, I'm like, Georgi is a very, very collected person, and he's happy. The first time I saw Georgi, he's always the guy who's smiling. He's a big guy, smiling, just smiling, look at people, and very quiet guy, but it's very bubbly guy. And because of that, he's very unassuming, right? Whereas Michael has a very big presence, and, like, you know, he looks like he's from the biker gang, and scary looking dude, right? A lot more scary looking than Georgi, who's always smiling and happy. So I think people very often underestimates people by just the appearance. But if you look at track record, however, Georgi, obviously that was a different time. I get it, but he smashed a 115, world champion Dave Chaffee. So, and it was just early this year. So it's one of those where I don't think it will be a sweep as people say. And Gyori also is saying that this is his peak, like his prime, like he's never been stronger. So, I mean, that's the scary part, right? We don't know when somebody says that I'm better than I have been in the past, but by how much? So this level now is almost like thrown out the door because we don't know where they're at currently. And Michael, who has been training for the past 6 months, or was it 9 months, or so, he's gonna be also pretty strong. So it's I don't want to say things just to promote the match, but I'm just saying that there is a reason why they are the headliner. At one point, we were thinking, okay, should Jerry be the headliner? Well, I mean, they are called headliners, uh, but then ultimately we think it's so close that both should be headliners. Plus, Rickard Bornemann has shown a lot of, and Schoolboy has a lot of interest from the community, so they were almost considered to be one of the three co-headliners as well. But I still think that Michael and Georgi's match is just a hair above everybody when it comes to what kind of interest they'll gather from fans. So that's why I think ultimately their match is going to be pretty dang good. Let's see. Poster looks awesome. Thank you. Anna is OG. What if King of Table was a 20 competitor contest of who can gets the most pin in a time limit when it stays on the table? So right now, everybody's kind of known that we have Vienna on the 20th of January. Oh, sorry, February. And but I was just telling Robert, I'm like, look, the gap's too big between events, and we are now actively trying to lock down a King of the Table event on January 31st, just so that we don't have 2.5 months of nothing. Right now, historically, January is a terrible month to host events because it's right after Christmas. People are like, "Oh, I don't want to buy the pay-per-view because I'm low on money, whatever, right?" But I'm hoping to do a smaller event, right? Not crazy big venue, cheaper tickets, potentially even cheaper pay-per-view. Might be 25% off our normal EVW pricing. Totally making it in a different format, tighter, closer tables. Sorry, one table but closer spectators, maybe standing room only, and then if there are VIPs, they will be somewhere on the balcony area with tables where they can sit down and munch on food and look at things. So that's kind of like the feel that I'm looking for. I've already reached out to a whole bunch of people to help me scour and find real good, cool venues. It doesn't have to be really big. It would probably be most likely either Vegas or Salt Lake City. We do have a headliner ready that I think people would care about. But ultimately is if we can find a venue first. But yeah, it'll be King of Table. And I'll tell you for another good reason why it's going to be King of Table. It's because we are also launching the annual pass. We are bringing the annual pass back for 2026. So the 2026 annual pass, it's going to be bonkers. Okay. I was doing the analytics to see what is the best pricing, and the best pricing that we've determined is that you will get 9 events for $139.99. Okay. So 9 events typically would set you back $180. Now it's basically $40 discount. So you get 2 matches for free when you buy 7. And you'd be thinking, well, it's 2026. I thought there was only 8 events. For now, we can confirm 8 events in 2026. So we dare not promise any more East versus West events. However, what I'm doing is I'm using this opportunity for people to lump it in and get Atlantic City EVW 21 for free. It's all part of the bundle. So this bundle of all 2026 and Atlantic City for $139.99. So that's kind of a new thing that, you know, personally, I know we've had it done in the past when Core Sports was running the stream. This is a new thing that we're doing, and hopefully people support us. And, that's kind of, I think, a pretty good deal. You buy 7, you get 2 free. And it's not gonna last forever too. This deal will change after the event. So just throwing it out there. Let's see. Anna is the OG, and she has been pretty good. Have you seen Ayane's most recent tweet? I was on her channel yesterday. I didn't see any tweets because I know Ray, because between Ray and I, we were trying to set up her match interviews, and yeah, so there's that. But uh Jocelyn's not playing games though. Tough match for Anna. I mean, Jocelyn is also pretty. I don't know who's the favorite here, because from what I've seen is that Jocelyn is the favorite from what I'm seeing, because I think perhaps maybe people have seen Jocelyn on stage a little bit more than Anna, so maybe that's what it is. I know Jocelyn. I think she got silver in WAF, didn't she? So I mean, no slouch. She's pretty good. So I think it'll be a very, very good match. Many people underestimate, you know, I was in EVW 15. I'm trying to think of the name right now. I know for sure we had several female matches. All I know is Fia came up on top, but the female matches were pretty interesting. It was the first time I've been to any event in Islam, in any high level at least. And Robert was explaining to me, watch, you see, uh, when the straps on the females' hands, they are more susceptible to losing, and it's true enough. So it was very back and forth, depending who won the coin toss, right? Most cases, but not all the cases. So that's when I'm like, wow, I didn't know it was way interesting. And some of the men's matches was a blowout too, right? So what I'm saying is, even in Jake Paul and Mike Tyson's boxing match, they are saying that the most interesting match for that evening was actually the females match. So just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. Let's see. Okay, so here's the schedule. The prelims will start at noon Eastern time. Noon Eastern time. And then it will go for 2 hours. Okay. Now, all four matches may not occupy all 2 hours, but that's fine. We have other things that's happening that will fill in the time. We will have a pre-show from our commentators and announcers. They will just kind of give their thoughts and a little bit of analysis of what happened in the prelims to fill in the time. And then and the prelims will be aired both on pay-per-view and on YouTube. So it's really up to you if you want to, watch both. No, watch on one or the other. It doesn't matter. And then as soon as 2 o'clock comes, we may take a 15-minute break in between the prelims and the main event. And as soon as the prelims ends, it's when the YouTube channel stream also ends, but the pay-per-view will continue going on. So just throwing it out there. The prelims will be maybe, so officially we'll try to shoot for at least an hour and 45 minutes worth of entertainment. So, and the final 15 minutes, it's when we start switching things over, just in case there was something wrong, like the microphone wasn't loud enough. It's a way to test the system as well. And if something goes wrong during the prelims, I hope people give us a little bit more leeway because it's free. And then when everything is all said and done, there might be some minor tweakings, like, I'll review the footage and I says, hey, it's not loud enough. Let's turn on the gain. But then the gain's too loud, we have to lower it down. There's a whole bunch of things that needs to be tested to ensure continuity in the audio feed. The video is probably quite evident when something's wrong. We can see it. We just can't see it, right? So that 15-minute gap will be there. But if assuming everything goes nuts, right? And it goes past 2 hours, okay, then so be it. Then there won't be any break. There won't be any post-match analysis. It will jump straight into the main event. So we will be a little bit flexible there, and I hope people understand. But ultimately, as we are telling everybody, it's noon to 2, and then 2 onwards will be the main event. The main event won't start any earlier than 2 p.m. is what officially we are saying. Just throwing it out there. Let's see. Devin versus aliens. I don't know what this is all about. Knows about aliens. He knows fringe information. He knows stuff that we don't. What is this? Alias Jean Muratov. If you're talking about his left arm, then sure, he's in. We have a lot of like weird Popeye looking guys, right? Oleg Jacques comes to mind first when you're talking about like weird left hand craziness. Otto Markarov's fingers are all weird because, yeah, we have a lot of like super strong mutants. Okay, so you're right. Big. Okay, so now everybody is starting to fly in. Here's another change in our pay-per-views. Okay, here's another change for our pay-per-views that we are doing. Right now, on top of the annual pass, like in what the name says, extended pay-per-view pass. Okay, what this is something that I'm testing, and it's something that I will want. It's really from the feedback over the past couple of weeks from you guys, and it's along the lines of I didn't want to call it a VIP pass because we have and we confuse everybody. It's like, oh, VIP, and because we have a VIP in-person ticket seats, right? So I'm calling it extended pass because that's really what it is. We're extending the video of our live stream for our extended pass pay-per-view pass holders. So that includes now, for instance, a special. Well, we'll have not only post-match commentary in the form of analysis and everything. So you hear a little bit more from our athletes and everything. But also, here's another slight change is that we will be having an after pool video session. Okay. Among them this time would be some of our athletes, right? But also uh we have Devin. So Devin will be polling. So you could potentially see now I don't want to like curate too much, but I am telling the athletes that they're advised to show up. But if they're injured, they're tired and everything, then it might not really make sense, to force them. But I'm encouraging every athlete to come to the after poll. So potentially you might see, right? You might see, example, like if you look at this screen, okay, you might see after polling from Devin versus Camille. Just throwing it out there. Well, I might stop that if I was there because we might want to save that. At least the left hand, I want to save that for one of our other main events. But you could see a whole bunch of different combination from athletes, right? You might see, right, how maybe Rickard does against Jerry. Well, how does Rickard do when he's now put against on? Now, again, this is all after pool stuff. And so the mix and matches, the mixing and matching would be completely random. And also it could be, some other, American ranked guy who wants to pull against Schoolboy, against Rickard, against, Michael Todd, Georgi, right? So there's a whole bunch of unknown things. Like I cannot tell you who's going to be pulling whom, just because it's almost sort of random. But our athletes will be advised to be at the after poll. So you see our athletes polling, you know, there, which is a complete new thing. So that's where I think that the at least the current thing that's happening. Now the other thing that's also changing a little bit. Oh, maybe I should do this so I can see it. Right. The other thing that's happening is that the pricing would be higher. The pricing would be a little bit higher. Oh, also Dong Tai. Good thing that you brought that up, right? VIPs have priority as well to enter the after poll areas. Okay, so they have if anybody wants to poll somebody, the VIPs gets priority. Just throwing it out there. The second part about the extended pay-per-view is from all the comments and this a culmination of what everybody's been throwing out there. Okay. The second thing about the extended pay-per-view pass is that I am going to give every single athlete a code. And the code is very likely their last name. Okay. Very likely their last name. Meaning we have Borneman, we have Bazizyakov. I don't know if I put Bazizyakov. Maybe it's Schoolboy. I can't remember. But you will have Todd, right, for Michael Todd, right? Todd. We have Svekov. Basically, all these guys here, right? Jablonski, Terasitis. If you put their last name in there, you'll get a pretty big discount. Okay. I'm still finalizing on the price. Right? Listed price might be $38.99. And then if you put in a code, you'll save $5. So really, I expect everybody to put in a code, please. Everybody put in a code because there's another reason for that. Because then you're bringing it down to like $33.99. No, yeah, $33.99, and then we'll take $5 off that to give it to the athletes. So the athletes actually get to keep that money. Now, again, don't quote me on the price because I'm still figuring out on the whole pricing thing. I might lower it and give a small discount plus a smaller uh you know a smaller chunk and sort of tips to the athletes, a little bit less, but that's the idea, yeah, right? I want to be able, this is a way for fans who, financially are capable to also support their partners. Whether or not I release that number out there to the world, that would be a separate matter. I'm still thinking about it, but perhaps that might be the case. But here's also the cool, interesting part, right? Uh, well, not interesting, but fairness. It will only be for, at least for now, it's only for the athletes. So I know there are some content creators who are pushing. Uh, yeah. So I know there are some content creators who are asking that if we can be on that code and we can help spread the word and we get some I would say commission or so. I say for now, let me do this first to see if there's any interest to begin with, uh, and then we'll go from there. Right? We'll go from there. But for now, I'm only keeping it strictly for competing athletes, with the exception of our finalists and our wild card for our prelims. So that is kind of a little bit of a bigger change. You know that now the prices that I'm still playing with, right? It's $5 plus $5, right? So 38, basically it's $38 going down to $33 with the code, and then we give $5 to the athlete. Now there are some added expenses, which is why we still need to cover our costs a little bit. Because the team, just so you know, they start their day at 6 a.m. in the morning. Okay, they start the day at 6 a.m. in the morning, and then they have to finish final prep, final setup, and they work through the main event, which probably end maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, right? Then they have to do this for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours, right? Then only can they start packing up and cleaning. So that's why we are getting charged overtime already. So I hope people understand. Like we don't expect a whole bunch of people, but this is hopefully a new initiative. Now, whether or not we release that after poll video to the world, that's something to be considered. And there is a chance that we may never release those after poll videos, and it's strictly only in the memories of the main, the extended pass holders. So there is that. So we will never release anything that happens during the after poll to the people. So that's another way to incentivize you guys to support us and support an athlete of your choice when you do so. And it's all optional. It's all optional. Do athletes' paycheck change every event based on the hype of the specific match, or is it amount locked in the contract? Just curious. Good question. Very good question. The answer is no. They don't change, with exceptions. Example, for some athletes, if they're going for the world title, that might be a big of a change. For some athletes, if they're going up against some of the top athletes like Levon and Devin, then their contracts will also change. So it's every contract, it's very different, and there's just some athlete has a win bonus, some athletes do not have a win bonus. They just show up and you get your money. And some was like you got to win. Well, even you don't win, you still get a portion, a major portion, and then you get a little bit of a bonus if you win. So it's very, very different. Yeah, it's very different. Let's see. Let's see. Adam Mada 6236. Just wanted to give you your flowers because you have one hell of a thankless job, but you do your best at it. Thank you very much. That things like that does, like, I'm not expecting anything. I don't go around asking people to thank me or anything. Uh, just I mean, Robert and I, we're not wired that way. We just want to go out and do our best, and hopefully people see it. If not, no big deal. We'll just move on in our day. But I think more importantly is we just want to at the end of the day, I think messages like this does give us encouragement and motivation to keep going. Not gonna lie, very often I spend a lot of time also because I'm also need to understand what the community is feeling, what they're thinking. So I have to go on Reddit. I go on Reddit a lot just to see what people are. I don't respond very often because everybody knows my ID tag, and I try to stay out of drama really. And but I do read a lot of on Reddit, sometimes on Discord, but Discord isn't quite as populated just quite yet. uh Sometimes on social media. Robert checks Facebook quite a bit, so we kind of divvy out a little bit. And so sometimes when we read things like that, it's just yeah. At least what that is it tells us that we're on the right track. It tells us that we're on the right track, right? Because ultimately, sometimes you don't know. Here's a really good one, right? I think this past week or so, there was this video about Dana White that's being pretty popular, and I see it being shared around. He says, two words to describe Dana. One word is loyal, and Dana himself could have guessed it, right? He says one word, one of the two words is loyal, and the second thing, it's all about um, bully. And he says that he's very hard against his competitor. He's very hard against his enemies. But if you shown loyalty to him and you helped him out, he never forgets you. And you could see that, right? I mean, his working relationship with the Fatita brothers span decade, and his friendship with. He was saying something along the lines of, during the early days of UFC, when a lot of people didn't want anything to do with such a gore sport, right? They didn't lease the venue to him, right? It until Trump himself is like, you know what? I'll take care of you. Just host your event at Atlantic City at the Trump Taj Mahal. I'll take care of you. So ever since then, right? He was very grateful to Trump, and you could see that their relationship span all the way to even the latest general election, uh, right? So then, Robert and I, we got talking. It's like, hey, look, there's a lot of people coming constantly. Like, I mean, the stuff that you guys read on Reddit is only a small portion about people disparaging EVW, Robert, and my name all the time, right? You guys see only a fraction because within inside private messages, people attack us all the time, right? And we also hear about stories and things that on the outside they look like they're all magnanimous, they're all friendly to EBW, but on the back end they're constantly poaching our athletes, telling them to rip their contracts off, just come, we'll take care of you, and then the athletes come report back to us, all sorts of things like that, right? It happens all the time. And then one thing that, oh, here's our hit ref. So maybe you should join us and answer some of the refs question that we had last week, because I was a little stumbled with that. So Luke, if you're available, send me a message and I'll send you an invite link so you can help answer one specific question that people had that I really had a tough time answering. So anyway, back to the whole point. The way that we respond right now is that we are very we try to play the we try to solve things with peace and kindness and love, right? That's kind of like the core foundation of our religious belief as well, right? But at the same time, that people could take advantage of this whole situation. They could, oh yeah, Robert's not going to do anything about it, so we'll just go pull someone else, or we'll you know we'll help a competitor and they will still let me back in, kind of thing, right? That's you know so how much do we want to run the company with an iron fist kind of method, right? Do we want to start banning people from coming back? Do you want to start imposing penalties and disciplinary actions, or whatever, right? So that's why, but ultimately I think Robert and I, we kind of agree, it's like that's not in our complete nature. Now, yes, now when we want to get hard and tough and all hard, we can, right? We can. But at this time, we are still. Let's try to resolve everything in peace. Let's resolve everything in peace. We won't go the bully route just quite yet, and that's kind of how we are at. So there is Jay Corbin 9 events, $140 is a good deal. Well, it's $139.99. It's more of a psychological thing, but there is that. Let's see. I know who the favorite is, but as a ref, I can't say. That's also the other thing about what Luke's point is, which is why it's you can never get who my favorite is for the match as well, because I don't want anybody to be able to say, look, the reason why this happened is because one of the owners uh told the refs, right, to unfairly ref that match to help one of the two athletes win, right? We absolutely, the sport is too small to be ruined by any form of matchmaking. Blanket statement, completely true. Anybody who argues otherwise uh, doesn't know anything about organization of a sport league. So we cannot match fix. Even though, like I'll tell you sometimes, right? Even sometimes, example, sometimes, right? We do have stories that we are trying to build. Okay, we're trying to build the story. Example, right now, say, example. We kind of know the the storyline. Levon versus Vitali in February, and a month and a half down later or so, it'll be in April, where Devin is pulling Vitali again. Okay, now for storyline purpose, okay, if Vitali wins Levon, then it makes Devin and Vitali's match. It's very super interesting. It's probably that it's gonna break records, but now the difference is Devin is facing a new guy for the gauntlet. Okay, so from a storyline perspective, the promotion would prefer that matter. Okay, Levon loses, but we will never do anything to interfere with the match. Okay, though I think that that's a storyline thing. Uh, you know, personal opinion. Now it's not an EV person. I think Levon still got it. Honestly, I think Levon still got it. But I'm just telling you, this is a very far fetched example, but that's something that even though we we think it's better, but we will never interfere with something like that. Which is why I cannot think of a scenario where you'll see Robert or I running on stage other than to fix a technical problem, but not talking to the refs during you know when we are seeing like when they're reviewing a match or in a protest or whatever. We will never try to interfere with that. We will let Luke and his team do the job, because that's the whole idea of hiring Luke, right? He's good at what he does. Let him do his job, right? Now, when we bring up new rules changes and whatnot, that's okay. That's maybe when, as a management side, we will all discuss that together. So there is that. Uh, let's see. Somebody throw in this statistics. I love it. Mr. Peanut says the global sports analytic market is projected to grow from 33.78 billion to 22 billion by 2030. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Uh, that's just sports analytics, by the way. I think there's, I think start with me potentially baseball, right? Wasn't there a movie about Moneyball about how using numbers and statistics can lead to the ideal outcome versus trying to buy just best players. No, instead of trying to buy wins, you buy the best players, and they will help you win. So there's that. Devin and Alijan match set for February. So right now we are still talking about that, right? Devin, so which is why Devin is kind of in the crunch right now. Devin's been trying to push to get his match like right now in Atlantic City. Unfortunately, I think times Ali Jan's busy with family thing. But so that's not gonna happen. Just throwing it out there. And the reason is because Devin says that, hey, I'm gearing up for Vitali. Vitali is going to be a crazy opponent. I will need to bulk up for that match. And if he has to prepare to go down to the 115 and then rebulk up again, it kind of like disrupts it because he's trying to gain weight. You're trying to tell him to go down again and come up. So that will disrupt him just a little bit more. So we're still thinking about it. So maybe it's in our January event that if I can see if I can pull together something. But yeah, so there is that. Or it could be Darikan versus Alijan. So the official stance right now, I know it went back and forth a little bit. Okay. Jurgen came on to Snezana. We had a big discussion. And finally, the official stance right now is that we are not stripping him of his belt in a way that people would think, is that his last chance to defend the belt, because it could be also in another way, it is like stripping to a certain point, right? He strips it, but nobody else can get it from him, but him first. He has first rights to get it because the next title match, right? Should it be vacant, it's also him competing. So it's one and the same. Okay. I don't know if that's clear. But he will have to pull two events, very likely in April, very likely in February, to defend his 150 and 105 belt. That's a done. If he decides to skip on for whatever reason, then he will be officially not the world champion. So that is the compromise that we made with him, because his argument, it's kind of loose, but and also in the past, we admit it was never publicized that way, but it was always an unspoken rule. But now we are trying to standardize everything, and so that there would be a no question asked that this is the path to go. So just throwing it out there. So to further explain the whole extended pass thing and the coding of every single athlete's name in as a promo code, that delayed everything to get it done. I was hoping Wednesday, but I guess with Thanksgiving and everything, the team probably didn't work. Very could just had lower manpower to get it done. So that's the point. We will get it done ASAP. That is the next thing, but there will be an extended pass version. So let's see. Super chat by SQN5280. What if we want to just give you what you want plus more? I would be more than happy to see Georgi and Devin eat some lemons with an after pull $50 easy. Lemons. Interesting. That's a good thing. I don't know. Put a super chat in, and then I'll make sure somebody bring lemons to them. And it'll be only on the extended pay-per-view pass. Just throwing it out there. Whenever you release the athlete cards, can you do an add-on to pay-per-view cost if people want to buy cards? So one thing that would be also a slight change, is that we will have a unique feature when we convert our website, hopefully in 2026, early 2026, hopefully before Vienna, really, is that we will connect our pay-per-view stream with our Shopify system, because that is the Shopify system is required in order to give codes to content creators, to athletes, so that they can track their points and redeem things with their points based off purchases through their recommendation. So basically an affiliate program, right? And with Shopify system, we are building a system to connect our Shopify store to the pay-per-view, which means you can purchase things right off, through your remote control. And by that, I also mean that you are capable of getting special deals only if you're a pay-per-view buyer. So very, very interesting there. Robert Crane says, "So you like when people are easy to work with?" I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? I mean, why would anybody want to work with somebody that's difficult? Is I mean, if somebody's like really, and nobody else can do it, then I'm sure there is some level of tolerancy. But I'm sure everybody would like it if everybody they work with is easy or nice and pleasant. So, oh, Pam, she's our in-house accountant. So she is the best. She's the best. Um, Thank you, Benji, for your kind words. Always solving things with a nice smile. Adamantium is saying, anytime you're in the public eye, there will be disparaging comments and encouraging one's part of fame, minor or major. Yeah, you are not wrong, and we understand that. And ultimately, I think even for athletes, some of the athletes they are doing a pretty damn good job, right? One of the things when we brought back, well, I mean the Eastern athletes, they were like, oh, shoot, that's actually what really happened. Okay, yep, that's Dexter and Robert. They aren't bad people. Let's move back to EVW, and you know, but by then they got a whole bunch of attack on them, right? And it wasn't very, very nice. And I was thinking of ways to see how can I fix their reputation, essentially, or because there are some people who have said, I don't like to uh I don't like to this athlete, and because of that, I won't buy the pay-per-view. Okay. So there is that. So I was thinking, but ultimately I was reminded of certain thing. Okay. I was reminded that it's okay to hate an athlete because they might buy the pay-per-view to see them lose, right? And with every sport, sometimes it's also okay to have the bad guy, right? So so that's why I started leaving alone and let people form their own opinions, really. I mean, heck, Devin, who's the most famous arm wrestler in history, has a whole bunch of haters too, a lot of haters, and he embraces it because they'll buy the pay per view to see him lose. So that's kind of where we're going at, and same with me. As long as they're not acting on their hatred, right? They're not sending me death threats, or they're not, harassing my family or anything like that. Then go ahead, attack me. Doesn't I will just eat it. I'll just eat it. Here's another super chat from SQN 5280. I think the afterpool would be perfect place to exercise all rules. Try new tables, training gear, live contests, a digital place to market investors. I like that. I like that. I like that. I really like that. Uh, don't know quite yet if we have any new rules that we're toying with. And while we're on the subject of new rules, I want to explain a little bit and address this situation. And and it and it's one of those that I know was mentioned uh, by Brian about us seeming to compete or push back on rule changes. And we actually have like quite of a number of rules that we would like change. Not gonna lie, we actually do have quite a bit, but every rule change has to be done in a very incremental manner, right? We are talking about implementing a rule change for the entire world, right? Not just the Western athletes now who understands English perfectly. It needs to slowly propagate to the rest of the world. So any major rule changes has to be done uh, in a slower manner. And also, Robert and I, we were under a major, tremendous amount of stress, right? Stress that the athletes, the Western have left, you know, well, not all of them, like 27 plus, they have left. And one of, technically not one of, their main point was that Devin is an owner and he's changing the rules specifically about the, anything that helps the Kings move. which is ridiculous to begin with. And they are manipulating the refs to let him win the Eastern guys. Okay, which is no, not true. Well, eventually now it came out that it's not true. Uh, so we already know that they're very sticky about rule changes, right? And so within the same time period, but within the same time period, we were hosting we are co-hosting the Shaw Classic, and so whenever there was a new rule that's presented, we had to take this we had to take this new rule and propose it to all the Eastern, all not just the Eastern, but all the athletes, and ask them, hey, what do you think of this rule? Do you think it's okay with, right? Is this acceptable? Is this any comments, any questions? So it's not like we said no. It's more like, hang tight for a second. Let me check. Hold on. Let me think about this for a second, right? So there is a lot of that. Another thing that was also in contention, I think it was so ultimately we did, because we've actually been talking about the whole challenge flag thing for a while now. Uh, I know Robert has a few more things that he wants changed, like he's slowly changing the setup time, allowancy before it goes into refs. I think right now it's 30 seconds. He's even thinking, let's go down to 15 seconds, right? Th- those kind of things. And all these rule changes need to be slowed down, right? Another rule change is that the main event headliners, right, will be best of 7, which is another reason why Schoolboy and Borman is not considered a headliner, because they're pulling twice, and we don't want them to go nuts and pull potentially up to 12 rounds, right? So that's why it's not happening. So it's one of those that uh not that we're trying to be difficult, but it could be perceived that we were being difficult, is that all rules need to take time to propagate, especially in the time where we are being pressured from the east that Devin is manipulating the rules, which is now they know it's not true, right? So that's kind of what's happening. Then the other one was tables. So there was so Ian Carnegie built a table, but they were out of spec a little bit, well, quite significantly out of spec. So I think he quickly called his buddy, I think Corey Miller, helped build that table. So Corey knows his stuff, but I think they were a little too high or something like that. So they had to chop the table shorter a little bit, because what they did was they had a much higher, uh, eh, well, the table itself was thicker, and so but the posts were the same height, right? The posts were the same height, so but the table thicker added to the overall height to be too high. And then when we checked, it's like, whoa, even a like 2 inch too high would throw some athletes off a little bit, right? So I think they end up chopping it, right? And ultimately, Luke, the hit ref, he looked at it. He's just like, that table's unusable, because not only that, I think the pin pads and the table and the elbow pad was out of dimensions, so it and they were not going to be acceptable. But I think Ian really hustled really hard. So kudos to Ian. He hustled really hard. He went around town trying to uh, change things up, but ultimately he failed. But then he came up with a perfect idea. He says, Dexter, since you guys have a Mazuranko table sitting there, could we just use your pads, right? But the pads were a little worn, well, different color. So he went around town and finally got somebody to wrap the our elbow pads. So he did a lot to try to make it work, and it made us appear that we were being really difficult to Ian, but really we have to comply with certain things, right? Like, for one, we have to comply with WAF, right? I know that there has been a little bit of difficulty coming up from the WAF camp, right? Because they are so strict, and but at the same time, right now we are WAF affiliated, so our rules cannot go nuts and completely change things. So we have some room to breathe, really, a little bit, which is what I'm seeing a lot of chats talking about. Svetan, right? Right now, he has an issue with Arsen, the current president. So, which is what so what Robert's actually doing. He is going to Simon Baricho, I think it's the WAF president for North America, to negotiate a way to allow WAF to bring him back on EVW stage. So Robert's doing a lot to try to see if we can bring Svetan back in, because he's a legend, and we really got to get him back. So because of that, it may seem like there's a lot of friction, right, in making those decisions when it came to the table, and the challenge flag and everything. It's not that we were trying to be difficult, it's just we had more things that to think of, really. Robert did reach out to Brian, and but Brian says, yeah, there was things that made it really difficult, because we couldn't just make the decision and that's it, right? We still had to deliberate, we still have to think, we still have to think of the consequences, we have to check with other people. So we were, in all honesty, yes, we are slower in making those kind of decisions, but ultimately, Brian wishes nothing but the best. So we do have plans, at least, to bring Brian. If we will invite Brian, at least we'll invite Brian to come back to EVW and potentially pull, who knows, maybe him versus Kirill would be pretty cool. I don't know, Larry Wheels, I don't know. So that's you guys seen, right? Leonidas is going to visit Devon and train with Devon, right? So maybe it's Leonidas. I don't know. But point being is, I, I know it's on the surface. It if you're only getting half the information, and you're seeing from one perspective, you can see, honestly, that was probably, Robert told me, right? He has so many challenges in his life, a lot of challenges in life. But he says, during that time period was potentially one of his most challenging time in his whole life, in his whole life. And so we were under constant pressure because of the whole situation. And yeah, so yeah, so there's that. It's ultimately, I think we both grew and learned, really. But hopefully, that drama, I think it's behind us, really. Ingen's been cooperative in many sense, but whatever Robert kind of reaches out to him, say, hey, can you help us with this, or whatever, there's that, right? So hopefully that answers a lot of your question, really, in regards to this matter. Let's see. Yeah, and oh yeah, somebody just reminded me. They're not wrong. There is the thing that I would say I would have to take blame for this one. This one is something that I overlooked a little bit. Is that back back before we took over, especially during when we had those collectible cards, the autograph cards, athletes were signing upwards of 500 items, and I don't think any of them complained, at least that I know of, right? And they just signed it. uh then we took out the trading cards, and I dumped everything down, and now we have only a less than maybe 150 180 worth of items to sign now. So it's kind of we've kind of pulled everything down a little bit. And yeah, and but at least the arm wrestlers understood that that's where they kind of needed to do. But then I forgot this time there was strongman as well, and the strongman weren't accustomed to signing anything at all. And so when they were faced like, oh, I have to sign this 150 or 200 or whatever the number, I can't remember the number, worth of like posters and signed shirts, like, oh geez, maybe wow, these guys are really exploiting us or whatever. I don't know. So they were pretty unhappy that I had to make them sign that, and that one. It's kind of my fault. I probably should have you know, made it maybe optional. I don't know. I guess so. There's that. Yeah, all matches that have been announced. It's right here, Brian Mogo, all here. And if you guys ever wonder like what the matches are, I would say go to evwsports.com. Uh, if it's not there, our social media always have them. The latest, the absolute latest would be on our Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube and Facebook. So those are four main ones. Yeah, there is a chance that in February we will see Alijan versus Dadikan first instead of Alijan versus Devin. Potentially, potentially. Nothing's we're finalizing. We do know Alijan has to pull in February, but yeah. So there is it. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. I'm 25 minutes behind, but let's see. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if he refuses to pull, then he's no longer champ. That would be the way to do things going forward. Yes, I spoke about this. Robert's actively trying to get Svetan back in, uh, but we have to play nice with WAF. So there is that. Anyway, you can give us add-on options to the pay-per-view. That's a good idea. I might consider that. I might just consider that. Uh, the only thing about the add-on is that there is a potentially you cannot input the discount code, which means the athlete won't get credit for it, and the athlete won't get paid out from from when you use the code, and also you won't be able to get your own discount as well. So there is that. I'm seeing some funny comments, but I won't put it up there because I'm trying to not give attention to people who don't deserve it. Really, honestly, I think that's the way, right? Ignore the haters. Ignore the haters and just march forward. So there is that. Uh, if you hate someone, just have mass humiliating them. I tell you, uh, I can't say the joke because that's not my joke to share, and it brings up some very controversial points. But man, if you see Matt Mass, ask him because in Turkey he had some. No, sorry, even in Zurich, he told me a joke, and I was just bawling. I was just bawling. It was so funny. Just ask if you see Matt Mass, ask him to tell you about the Turkish guy joke. Nothing to do with England on this one, but yeah, just t- tell him to tell you the Turkish joke. It's so funny. Matt Mass, he insults you that in a way that's so funny. It's so funny. Let's see. No, it would be four. You're forgetting the wild card. So Atlantis is asking. So three of the matches would be free on EVW. No, it's four. There's one wild card match that will be picked. Let's see. They can do one review per match now. There are talks that needs to be finalized whether or not a best of 7 match would be. They will have 2 challenge flags instead of 1 because of the number of potential matches. So that there is that now. So to be clear as well, Todd, Svekov, and Kedoret and Jablonski's match, they will be best of 7. So headliner matches, even in the future, even if they're not world title matches, they will have best of 7. Just throwing out there if you guys missed that. Okay, so here's a criticism that I would like to read out. BZ Coffin says, seriously, feel that you guys, Robert and Dexter, you need to be more active with the athletes, like post more videos, not just arm wrestling, but events like Ingen used to take them to eat a lot. So like maybe record a conversation over a dinner table. Is that what you're saying? I did it. I did a bit in Arlington earlier this year. I think I did one with uh I did one in, yeah, we were at a pizza place. I d yeah, actually, you might be right. You might be right, because I have, uh even in Zurich, I brought Matt Mass out. I brought Camille and Sergey out, because it was a kind of a promise. If they came on my podcast, any super chat money, I will just go to them by feeding them. So we did all that, but it was unfortunately not recorded. Now that you mentioned it, maybe it should be recorded. So I'll probably need to do just quite that. And also the one thing that we've looked into is that, now that, we have to manage 8, potentially 9 events, maybe even more. While back in the day, East versus West was only 4, so they had 3 months to prepare and 3 months to plan. They had a lot more time basically. So not we just aren't quite there yet. But ultimately, I feel like last year, oh, so this year, sorry, this year we were just playing catch up. But you can already see this upcoming year that like, I really can start giving you preliminary dates, because we are a little bit more, our feet's already wet, and we are all ready to, we are more experienced, and we know the context, and we know the operation, and we're slowly dialing it down. I mean, you look at our Zurich, you know, video. I mean, our production is top notch, right? So there is that. Uh, yeah. So to clarify, Jay Corbett, and not like I want to go back to this topic because I'm just a couple of minutes behind. Brian thought he was more free to do what he wanted than EVW was able to do. Seems like, yes, that is correct. Because what happened was, right now, this is, if you try to piece together the whole story, and you get the truth, right? In this case, you know exactly that this was the complete truth, right? Baku was always there but never confirmed, right? And that is the case. It was there but never confirmed, because there'll be certain confirmation things, like how much are we getting, like from a sponsorship standpoint. Do venues are the venues locked in, whatever, right? So there's this whole bunch of stipulations. Sometimes the stipulation comes as example: we will only sponsor you X amount of dollars if, say, Devin and Vitaly are polling, then I will sponsor, give you this amount. If Devin's not coming, or if Vitaly's not coming, or Levon's not, whatever, right? Then the sponsorship money drops. So that's why it was still in negotiation phase and was never confirmed, because they were traveling or whatever, right? And and right now we were like, well, we are pressed for time, right? Because we only had 6 weeks in between events. We really need to promote the next event ASAP, which is why historically, uh, you will see me or mostly Robert will go out and announce the next event, right? But we couldn't, because we never got confirmation. And so we were like, well, we got to make a decision. And feels like something was happening in the background. Ingen quit the company, etc. So we were like, we don't know what's happening. We felt like we were getting squeezed into a bad decision. We weren't sure, and they stopped talking to us. So Robert was like, okay, well, then actually, Devin was like, hey, I think Brian might be interested. So let's make a phone call. And in that phone call, it was mostly, hey, if you want to come merge with us, that's fine. We made a lot of like over the phone agreement. So there was no time for attorneys, other than, hey, arm wrestling, we'll take care of arm wrestling stuff. You'll take care of venue and production stuff, right? Uh, you know, but end up, production was more like 50, well, not really 50-50. It was more like 75-25. So camera angles were our team, because obviously our team knew all the camera angles, because they're arm wrestlers, uh, that sort of thing, right? Because like, if you don't know what you're doing, you end up having like the camera right behind an athlete, athlete's shoulder, those kind of things. So it's one of those weird things. And then, but in the morning of after Brian landed, it was Brian, Robert's right. Somehow or other, it got leaked that Brian was coming, and immediately we were offered confirmation that Baku was on. And then Robert reached out to, and by then it was morning of on Saturday. Reached out to Brian and says, "Hey, by the way, seems like Baku's on." right? And then after a while deliberation, and I was talking to Robert. I'm like, hey, dude, it's we gotta, you know, we discussed, and finally we're like, no, 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 no. Let we've already made a commitment. Unfortunately, Baku's not gonna happen. So then we actually canceled Baku, even though Robert technically had this option to accept Baku, but it was last minute thing. So which is why Baku never happened. I think I mentioned this story in the past. So with that said, you know, and it was also unfortunate. I know Brian really wanted Vitali versus Devin match to happen in Colorado. We all wanted it because that would really solve our whole scheduling of Devin's matches for the even 2026. So with that, I know there are some frustrating component because now he couldn't get Vitali there, and there was a lot of crap happening in the background. So anyway, that was what the whole story went out. But yeah, we weren't free to do everything we wanted. Uh, you know, everybody had their lanes essentially, and none of this was listed down on contract. It was very verbal. It was like, quick, quick, quick. You do it, I do it. On certain things, you take care of some things. All right, done deal. Let's go. That kind of thing. So let's see. Diabolical Billy. Super chat. He says, Oi, Brian was fuming at EVW $5, half a chalk bucket, and a salad for the athletes' dinner. No wonder the big man looked ready to deadlift the production team. Dexter had him on a full Scrooge budget. Poor giant. No, to be honest, the Brian was the one who took care of the athletes' meals and everything. The one thing that I did, I did learn is that in the past, green room only had water, right? In Chicago, the green room only had water, never really had anything else. But you see in Zurich, I think if you guys watch my live stream, we had like a buff. Well, I wouldn't say buffet there, but we had like anything from peanut butter jelly sandwich to chocolates to different power drinks and everything. So that's something that what Brian did. He had a whole bunch of candy bars at the back in the green room. So that's something that I learned. So I'm grateful for the experience. Whatever we can do to learn and grow, you know, I I think it's good. So that which is why I think it's really good that if you guys have any ideas, throw it my way. Throw it my way. I'd love to, you know, to, to grow and learn. And as you know, I'm not the best arm wrestlers. I don't have a long history in arm wrestling, so I really appreciate it when people educate me and tell me, oh, this guy needs to be back. I mean, like one of it is Ayane. Ayane is probably one of the first that this chat has been pushing for a long time, and after reviewing it, it makes sense. Yeah, let's do it. So Svetan is probably the next one. I mean, technically, Schoolboy and Rickert was also mentioned many, many times on this chat, which is we finally were able to make it happen. So uh there is right. So let's see. Matt should be on every card. He gets pay-per-views by himself. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean he's extremely entertaining. But I mean that's only one of the reasons. But he's also starting to be pretty strong himself, pretty dominating. So with that said, I think we also don't want to burn people out, right? We don't want to burn people out. He also needs his rest. Even though he was ready, he was like, Dexter, I'm ready. My other arm's ready. My arm is ready. And I'm like, we'll let you sit out on this one a little bit. So there's that. Georgi versus Michael is going to be such an insane match. You're right. It's going to be a crazy war for the wild card spot. Whoever gets there will deserve it for sure. I mean, we will have quite a number of finalists, so that would be. I mean, it's going to be my prediction, right? Oh, which is another new thing. Due to some family issue, well, not family issues, due to because I was going back for a wedding and my sister-in-law isn't feeling too good, so they're postponing and she cannot travel. Doctor's orders. So she's not allowed to go to Hong Kong for a wedding. So I'm going to be skipping Hong Kong. I haven't booked my tickets yet, but it seems like I can be in Atlantic City. So any of you guys who are going, make sure come grab me and say hi. But for the most part, um, yeah, I'm super excited to go to Atlantic City. Let's see. Match review. Use of GoPros. Phone apps available to operate multiple GoPros or iPhones from a single iPad and create 3D images you can rotate from every angle. Really? Really? Because the system, okay, the system that I was reviewing, it is like I think 24 cameras, and it's like a ring. So it's like a truss ring that's hoisted up above the table with 24 cameras, and that would give us a 3D view of most angles if possible, right? So I was looking into those systems, but those would set me back, a lot of money. But I didn't know 4 cameras is enough. Really? Is 4 cameras enough to make it? I'm gonna look into it, Mr. Peanut. I'm gonna type it right here. GoPros 3D image. Okay, let's see. Next one. Dude, when Devin was down there in Cancun, that crowd was nuts. Yeah, I would love to do something in Latin America because technically they are part of Team West. I got some messages from a couple of guys from Brazil as well. I think Peru was another one. So I know they're starting to have some pretty good guys down there. And a super chat. Where will Levon, Vitali, Devin, Larrett, and Vitali be located? Are you talking about in their own homes? I don't know. I don't have a tracker on them. But what I can tell you is that Vitali should only appear once in your message here. I know you like him very much, but I think you might be thinking of Hermes. But for Atlantic City, the only person confirmed that is coming is Devin, and he'll be coming to help commentate and whatnot. So, and to clarify, and so nobody comes as a surprise, that Chael Sonnet is too busy to do anything but commentate. So it's one thing that, because we are paying him a decent amount of money, and we wanted him to do a little bit more in terms of like we want him to promote and do a couple of collaborations with Devin perhaps. But he doesn't have the time. He's only here just to commentate, and with that, we felt like it's way too expensive to come to just commentate. So because of that, we kind of says, hey, let's table this to another time where he is a little bit more available. So that's the discussion with Chael. Uh, let's see. Well, maybe I should take this off. Okay, let me address this. Adamantium arm wrestling. All of this explains the conflict, the hacking, but why did Brian say he didn't feel appreciated? That's the part I don't get. Super honest, like super honest. I am not quite sure either. Robin and I, we were kind of like not quite sure because I mean, I I need to find the recording, but I thought we thanked him on stage. Uh, I I'm really not sure. We never got into specifics. When trying to just check in with him a couple of days ago when the video came out, we just talked. Hey, I thought everything was good. I just wanted to get a bit more clarity. And his response was, "Well, we all, between all three of us, you knew that it was some difficulties in getting this show done. But either way, I still wish you the best. I hope nothing but the best for you guys." So that was kind of like his statement. But so I'm not quite sure. Maybe, yeah, not not quite sure. Special guest. I mean, technically, at this point, do you count Devin as a special guest if he's also going to be helping out, working here and there? You know, but I mean, I know a lot of people uh emailed me asking is if Devin is going to be there, and the answer is a resounding yes. And if you're a VIP, you have priority, to even do an after poll with him. So So there is that. Devin versus Ormes. We actually did not, at least not that I know of, that we recorded officially. Now, for people who also said that Devin and Lavon's video call was staged, if I think if you watch certain angles of it, you'll see that Robert, me, Snezana, and the Vienna team, we were set pretty far away in the restaurant area, all across away from the hall. And when he was yelling, I was like, "What in the world just happened?" And then, oh, it's Devin. Ah, it's Devin. He's doing Devin things. And it was only like like a couple minutes later or something, where like they come grab me and says, "Hey, by the way, Levon and Devin's pulling right now." I was like, "What? Whoa, whoa, whoa! We gotta check this out, right?" So that's why that's only when I was informed of that. So it's I mean, anybody who says that was staged, that's completely false. Uh, let's see. I will need to check the name. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but they did email me, as showing me some of his videos and stuff. But it's probably if you're from Brazil, you probably know him because it seems like he's been winning there a lot. So, Devin and Hermes, I don't have official videos, and people who are wondering why it took so long, like remember the first uh podcast I did was like, maybe because there were a lot of people also telling us, hey, just keep it until and when Devin is about to pull Levon again, so you can use that as a hype video, so we can kind of milk it, when the match is set. So I didn't do anything with those footage, and then by the time you guys convinced me to release that, that's when I told Coach Ray, hey, can you help me start editing this? And then it took him some time to get it from. So Benji was one of the guys who filmed it. We had Neil filming it. We had Tina filming it. I think there was one more. Maybe those three, or maybe four. So I think it's three. So he had to gather those and took some time. And Tina wasn't in town, so until he got those, then he could start editing. Which is why it's so slow. It wasn't. You guys don't realize how much power you guys have, because Robert and I, we have a strong sentiment that you guys can help shape, because you guys are really the core of the whole entire sport, the community, right? So we want to be a community driven, uh, company where you guys can help. Now, not necessarily we'll listen to you all the time, because you probably say, don't do pay per view, just do everything free on YouTube, which financially doesn't make sense. But ultimately, you guys can really help shape the direction of the company. That I think that's pretty cool. Let's see another super chat. I meant to say where the match between Levon and Vitaly takes place. Okay, apologize for that. I guessed it wrong. Very, very, very likely, like 99%, it's going to be in Vienna, Austria, February 28th. I'm very confident. If you need to buy a plane ticket, get a refundable one, but still get one, because I think it's very likely going to be in Vienna, in Austria. It's going to be. I mean, don't go there just for EVW. Go there for sightseeing. Such a, I'm really checking out places I want to go check out. Another one that's pretty good. Another super chat. Armacing channel. Can Eli Sidoff get a match at EV22 or EV23 77 kilograms? I am officially not on the committee for matchmaking, so I cannot answer that question. But give it enough. So what I normally do is, right, I will type in whatever I'm reading now, and then I'll go back and kind of brief Robert and Sinazana. By the way, these guys are saying this and saying that, kind of thing. So maybe you guys want to look into that. So Son another I think technically Sonef's was also the Jordan Sonev. He's also another guy that you guys been mentioning quite a bit lately, right? So I kind of believe that there is a whole bunch of athletes that you guys would like to see. Just put it on the messages. When I read it, I'll point it back. Next question from Benny Winslow. He says, Dexter, is Matt Mass going to fight for a belt for his next match? Now, obviously, it's take my word with a grain of salt here, because it might change. But from my understanding, not quite yet. What we want is to not throw him to the deep end so quickly, even though now he's starting to show some traction. We want to slowly build his rank up, right? That's I think what we want to do instead of just throwing straight into you know a title match. That's kind of how we want to do things. Yeah. Kino tracks. I think that's I don't know if that's a system. I need to check with the production team. But yeah, that's good. Uh our production team is I mean, we are pretty confident that we've got sort of like a really good sort of a good standard operating procedure to make our stream seamless. We have a lot of advanced technology that we've actually been purchasing. So we start purchasing a lot of equipment. I mean, we it was Black Friday, so I dropped quite a bit of money, and because I think of it as an investment. Some of the equipment are very high tech. For instance, one of the equipment, right? And you never think that this equipment will matter very much. One of the things you'll see is the lights will dim down and be bright, right? And when you'll see it is during walkouts. Walkouts, lights are dim, and athletes usually are dark, right? But when we have like 6 cameras and everything, right, not including table cams, so those cameras have different settings. So if you know anything about like photography or video and video systems, there's like ISOs and brightness and everything. It also the f-stops. It's really seeing how much light that the camera can accept. Correct. So you might think it's automatic, but most systems automatic is not the way to go because they don't go to the setting that is optimum in a form of where the viewers would like to see. Example, let's say sparklers goes up, right? And then if the setting is incorrect, you can only see sparkles. You won't see the guy's face, the athlete's face. So there'll be the good professionals, they all change it manually. Okay. Now the automated system that is being they call it CCU, the camera control unit, and it's all remote control. So it's linked to the light. So if the light is dimmed down, the CCU will automatically tell all the cameras, and it automatically updates the ISOs to to adjust to either a dark or a bright setting automatically. So the operators now only focus on the zoom, and you know and not just not just the zoom, but the sharpness and the focal and the focus. And the reason why it's pretty interesting is, if example, and the camera, we're trying to focus on the arms doing setup, but if it's an autofocus, sometimes it will see the head ref's face, right, and focus on the face instead of the arms, and the arms becomes blur. So that's why, and a small little thing like that costs us a lot more money exponentially to get those systems working, right? So there's a lot of behind the scenes thing, but I think Atlantic City is under 2 weeks away right now. Everything seems to be going super smooth from the production standpoint to the venue, and knowing that there's a couple of changes. I hope to see you guys next Saturday. But for now, like, share, and subscribe. And until then, keep pulling. Thank you guys, and have a great Sunday.